Right, so welcome back to part 2 of this antique chair that you can just see over my shoulder. As you saw in the last one, we'd ripped it up, ready to be upholstered. So this one we shall be finishing it off with luck, so long as it doesn't take too long. So I hope you enjoy this video as always. Please like and subscribe, and let's crack on. Okay, so the seat, you've already seen the level we're putting on this. The seat is now stripped and ready to go back together. Originally it had webbing in it, webbing, canvas, and then we're going to use the rubberized hair, which you can just see behind it. I'll show you that in a bit more detail in a minute when we get to it. This seat had what we call Old English webbing, or black and white webbing. It's a heavy cotton web, and there it is. Okay, this is what people tend to use a lot of now instead of jute webbing. It's like a canvas, it's made from fibres, coconut, that sort of thing, and this is a more generic, cheaper webbing, but we're going to keep to what it has originally, so we're going to use the black and white webbing rather than the jute webbing. Then we'll use, as normal, a bit of canvas on it. When I say canvas, we use fabric remnants for it. It's not going to be seen, it's stronger than canvas. So, and we have it in abundance here, left over from bits and pieces that we've done, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to crack on, get this seat webbed up. We're going to put 4 webs front to back, and the same again side to side, and then the canvas, and then we'll be putting the rubberized hair on with a little bit of felt in the middle to give a bit of a dome to it, possibly a layer of felt over the top, and then Lux Bond. So there you go, we'll crack on with that. But slurp of my tea, and let's move on. Right, so excuse the compressor going in the background, hopefully you can still hear me. We start off by folding the end over, staple it along the back edge, pull it to the front with the web strainers, staple it off, fold it back. Watch. Web strainers, all sorts of different types of web strainers, timber ones, etc. Cut it off, fold it over, staple it down. Going to go to the opposite side now and place this the same distance away from this leg here, so we're subdividing each time. It just helps keep the webbing evenly spaced. It's one of those things that I find extremely irritating when I see other people doing upholstery, etc., that they haven't evenly spaced the webbing. I always say to anybody, it's the little details, even right at the beginning of the job, even to the extent of how you ripped it up, etc., that make the difference to the finished product. Last one going in, front to back. Compressor's about to go off any second now, I think. Hopefully. There you go. Very noisy. You can get silent compressors, or near as damn it silent compressors, but they're very expensive and not normally an issue. We are on an industrial site, so we're not working from home to upset anybody. Right, the side-to-side webs, weaving them in between, up, over and under each one, so it supports the web in both directions. Again, trying to keep the spacing even. And it does make a difference. It's pointless having a web too close to the side rail because it's not doing anything at that point. And if they're all right in the middle, you're not distributing the weight evenly. Also, a lot of antiques never had a bottom cloth on them, so the webbing would have been seen. So, you know, you take a bit more care at that point. If the webbing is seen from the underside as well, the customer can see what you've used. So, hence we're using black and white web rather than changing it to the jute webbing, because the customer may not have seen that it originally had black and white webbing, and we don't want to cause any reason for the customer to question, not necessarily complain, but question why have you used that over what was in originally. So that's the webbing on. Let's stand that up so you can see better. Okay, so you've got the webs front to back, which I put in first. I put the side ones in, and then we've got the webbing side to side there. There you go. Those staples have come out there, so let's put some longer additional staples in to the back of that there. That's got that now. So I'd change that from 10 mils to 12 mil staples. That's not going to go anywhere now. Lovely. So I'll go and find a bit of fabric to use as a canvas, and then we'll get that canvassed up. Right, so there we have a bit of brushed cotton fabric, biscuit colour, looks very much like canvas, so let's use it as canvas. And this is going to be a lot tougher than canvas as well, a lot more durable, so it makes sense. Bit of canvas, cut around the leg. As always, we're making our cuts from the centre towards the corner of that leg. That leaves us salvage, enough salvage on each side of the leg of the fabric. Doing it with the canvas is exactly the same doing it with the top cover. You can then fold it over and staple it along that back edge. Fold it over on the side. This is a very hard wood, I can tell by the way the staples are going in. Right, lift to the front. I'm pulling it at an angle, so we're getting tension this way, and this way. Trim it off, leaving about 1.5 inches to fold back and staple back down. Keep it uniform. Again, it's just one of those things that can bug me if it's not uniform. Fold that back, staple it down. A lot of modern furniture, they don't use canvas on. They put the foam straight onto the webbing nowadays, or even the springs, to save a little bit of time and a few pence. But the canvas is there for a reason. Stops you, whatever you're putting on top of it, from falling through. And when they don't put it on with the foam, etc., the foam gets cut by the springs and webbing and eventually finds its way through. So, not a good idea. Right, so there you go, you can see from the underside. This chair did not have a bottom cloth on it, so we've reproduced what was on there with the black and white English web and the canvas on it. So it looks nice and clean, the spacing is equal. Underneath there you go. It all adds to the level of finish, keeping that high. So next is going to be, I'm going to cut the rubberized hair. Let me find a smaller piece so I can explain it a bit better to you, to camera. There you go. So this is rubberized hair. This is, particular one's 2 inch thick. It's made up of 2 layers of 1 inch bonded together. So this again is either horsehair or coconut hair or the likes, depending on where you are, and it's just bonded together with like the PVA glue to create a matting. So it's still a traditional style product, but it's manufactured in a different way to make it quicker and simpler for use now, where cost is important. A lot of customers, the cost is the main thing. Some customers, the cost is irrelevant, but then we have the people that still want to keep the authenticity of their piece of furniture, i.e. no foam in it, but don't have the budget to have the seat stuff and stitch because it's time consuming, or in some cases can't find anybody that can do it anyway. Needless to say, we can do it here, but the cost involved in it is unjustified in this case, so we're going to use rubberized hair with a black felt and then a Lux Bond over the top just to finish it. So I need to cut a piece of rubberized hair to fit this seat, put a dome of felt in it, then potentially felt on top, and then Lux Bond. May not put felt on top because we use a heavyweight Lux Bond. So we'll see when we get to it what the seat is looking about. So each time you're having to modify how you're finishing the job to get the level of finish that you want. There's not a particularly hard and fast, I've got to do this, got to do that. It's about getting the finish. So I'll just get this cut and we'll come back to you. So that's the rubberized haircut. Just incidentally, regarding this in comparison to foam, this is potentially 3 times more expensive than foam and only comes in small sheets. So it does have a reflects on the price of the work. Again, that's something. Fortunately, this is pretty much a square piece needed for this. So that's all good. I'm going to put a little bit of felt, black felt, which is recycled felt from the likes of your clothing, etc. Very few bits of upholstery fabric, which is a shame. I have looked into recycling all the upholstery fabric that we strip off to go into felt manufacturing, because most upholstery fabrics are treated and heavyweight. Their machines, their carding machines, etc., struggle with reconstituting it, so they can only use a certain percentage in their felt, which is a shame. So we have looked at trying to reduce the amount that we dispose of, but currently we can't recycle all the fabric that we rip off, which is a shame. But there you go. So put a couple of layers of felt in there. I didn't show you, but I will now, because putting just this fibre on is a very flat seat and we want a bit of a dome in it. Okay, so we'll create that dome by putting some felt underneath that rubberized hair. So like building pyramids, we'll just go up in layers, reducing the size to create a dome until a point that I'm happy. There you go, there's a nice dome in that now. We don't want it to be like sitting on a balloon. We just want a dome. This is going to collapse on the edges, so we'll probably put a layer of felt over the top. So I just need to cut this hair out, go around these back legs here. Just using your scissors, cut that. Cut a square out of the corner. So. Goes around there. We can't put too much in this seat because, as you can see here, we've got to fit underneath this back rail here. So that is our limiting factor to the thickness of the seat. We don't want to cover up any of the complex carving on the leg, and we certainly don't want to cover up this fretwork here. So that's about right. So I'm just going to clip that down with a few staples onto the top of that rail. All the way round. hold it nicely in place. There we go. I think I am going to put a layer of felt on that. So let's tear off a piece that I can go over it in one go with. And then a layer of Lux Bond. That will give us a nice, comfortable seat. Looking similar to what was originally done. Bits of felt that I'm tearing off, etc. Don't go in the bin, they'll go in the next job. To create that dome in the next seat. I've paid for it, I'm going to use it. So we're tearing the felt off, level with the edge of the rubberized hair. We want a nice clean edge. And then we're going to use a bit of our 8-ounce Lux Bond to go over the top of everything. Yes, I'm aware that the Lux Bond isn't a traditional product. It would have just had felt on it and then a layer of potentially calico to hold it in place. This is my only concession to changing it for a modern product, because this replaces the felt and the calico in one clean sweep. So I'm going to staple this on the top of that rail, not on the front, again because we've got to run some nails around there. Hello Tacker, you come in the workshop, you come to say hello. Good doggy, good boy. So this seat originally didn't have a stitched edge on it, anything like that. It was just like this, like a pad on top of the rail, very thin seat on it. So we're not trying to create a stitched edge, which would be a lot thicker than this. Keeping this neat as I go along gives us a better finish. It is important. There you go. Pull the excess felt out, just tease it out. So I can get some staples in the top of that rail. get used on something else. Right, there you have it, seat stuffed up. Nice soft seat, well supported by the webbing and canvas, traditional. I've stapled on the top edge there, so hopefully you can see that this edge of the wood, the face of the wood around here, where we've got to staple the leather and nail to it, is clean. There's not lumps and bumps in it, so we get a better finish. I keep going on about that. I hope this video is not going on too much, so I will just pause it there so I can cut the leather, and we'll get back to you when we're putting the leather on it. Otherwise we're going to end up with a long video, and I do want to do this one in real time with you. Okay, so back shortly. So that's both bits of, or 3 pieces of leather. There's 2 pieces of leather for the back and the 1 piece of leather for the seat, so they're all cut and ready to go on. So let's get this seat upholstered. I've laid the leather, in this case, or fabric, doesn't matter. Process is the same, just a bit less pulling involved with fabric than leather. Centre at the back, couple of 3 staples there. I'm going to pull it straight towards the front, not pulling it as hard as I can, easing it down with my hand. And I'm just going to put the 1 staple here on the front, because I'm pretty certain I'm going to have to take that out. Centre the sides, staple there. Whilst I'm doing this, I'd just like to say thanks to my subscribers. We're getting further afield, and we had a subscriber from Australia get in touch. It's amazing to think that from our little workshop in Doncaster, people across the world can see what we're up to. There you go. Please keep the subscriptions coming, and the comments, the positive comments. And we'll keep putting the content out there for you. Try and keep it interesting and enjoyable for everybody. I do enjoy creating the content at the moment. It's a win-win for everybody. Right, so I've made the cuts to the corners. Again, I folded it straight across the corner, and my cuts, as always, come from the centre towards that leg. That gives us plenty of leather in this case to be able to fold back and tuck down the side. So just tucking that leather down now. And pulling the tension this way from the centre towards the side, and this way a bit, so all angles. Staple in there at that leg. Come round to do this side now. Cut the excess off. Cut down. We don't want to see cuts. Again, just easing the leather in this case from this direction, from the centre out. Go to the other side. tucking about 1/2 inch of leather down there, easing that across. Right, that's the hard bit done, the cuts around the back of the legs. So now I'm going to pull to the front corners. So again, I'm pulling from the opposite side. Imagine there's a cross through the seat. I'm pulling it along this line here. This is a very flat seat, so there's not really much of a corner pleat or anything like that. Like I've said in previous videos, this is what I'd refer to as a square corner. So we'd have one pleat on the front edge here, not on the side that I've seen done. We'll put it on the front edge. But because it's leather and because it's a relatively flat seat, there may be a very minimal pleat in that corner, if a pleat at all. Yeah, I think we are going to have a tiny pleat in that front edge. So a couple of staples on the side, now to the front edge is where the pleat would be. I'm going to cut out this excess here because it's going to get in my way. Yeah, little pleat in that front edge. Right, so hopefully you can see that. Let's have a look here. See that pleat is on the front edge there. Same with the opposite corner. Want matching pleats on it. Don't want it to look unbalanced. So I'll put a pleat on this side to match the other one. Like so that's pretty much the tension in the seat. Now in between where I've stapled it, just pull it down and staple it off. If you get it pulled off, cut and on right to start with, the finishing off is straightforward. If you find that you end up with lots of pleats or ruching, however you want to call it, along these edges, or fabric that you can't dispose of, then you've not got the fabric, or leather in this case, placed correctly initially and your first few staples in to position it. So it's very important to get them right because it makes life easier. So I'll just get that stapled off. It's warmed up a little bit in here now. I'll take my hoodie off. So there you go. That's the seat on now. I've just trimmed the leather off again with a nice sharp Stanley knife. Trim that off so we can nail that. Now I've got to get on with the inside back and outside back. Right, my apologies. We're going to do the inside and outside back. This is the inside of the piece of furniture. This is the outside of it, so the outside back. So I've just put a little piece of Lux Bond on there and we're going to cover that with the leather. I'm going to space nail the leather, leave a gap of about 2 to 3 inches between each nail, because this rail around here is attached to this carved wood with just a few nails, and if I start nailing it, a lot of nails, it could potentially break off, so I don't want to risk that. So I'm just going to space nail it, put a few nails around it, and I'm going to do the same with the inside back. So we should be good then to go. And my battery's running out, damn it. Unfortunately, I'm having to use the phone microphone, so do forgive me if the sound level's a bit different on this one. I'll do my best to speak up and to the camera so you can hear me. So inside back now, the outside back I've done, I'll show you that in a minute. The inside back, I'm just going to put a web in top to bottom. Because we are going to put a canvas on it, so and I'm going to put a couple of webs side to side. Possibly a little bit overkill for this back, but I'm only using the black and white web because it's to hand. It's not really necessary at this point because it's not going to be seen, so we could use the jute web in if I wanted to. Right, canvas time. Needs to cut off a little bit of the salvage canvas just to keep it neat. It would be hidden, but a little bit off of that. We don't want it to be underneath the nails because it creates bulk and lumps, especially as we're going to be space nailing this. And I don't mean outer space, I mean gap. I'm going to put a bit of glue on the back of this and then it will hold itself on. really needs, to be honest. We could just put the leather straight over that, but just because I can, I'm going to put a bit layer of Lux Bond on top of it. Again, I'm going to glue that to that. Right, leather. Okay, because we've got to fold the leather under, and then on the corners we've got to fold it as well. That creates quite a bit of bulk there, hence the reason why we don't want to put anything on this edge underneath the leather where it's going to be stapled. I'm going to start off at the bottom. This process is the same as what I've done on the outside back, but you didn't see that, so I didn't think it necessary because we're repeating it. Ease it up and cut the leather to size, allowing about ½ inch to fold under. Folding it under, pulling some tension from bottom to the top, and put the staple in the centre. The carving is a nice easy reference for moving the centre. Staple in the centre, cut off the salvage along the edge, and then folding the leather under. I'll show you a bit closer in a second once we've got these couple of staples in. So all the time I'm trying to get tension in it up and down and side to side. 3 staples in the top, 3 in the bottom. We've got some tension in from top to bottom. Now I'm going to start putting staples in the side and we should have a nice evenly shaped pad. Across to the opposite side. And then just subdividing it again, halving it. You can use a ruler if you wish, if you're unsure. But you need to be aware that the customer may use a ruler to check it, so make sure it's right. My apologies about that, the customer came in, so customers take priority over to me and this. But anyway, so that's stapled on now. So I've pulled the tension in. I can't tell you enough that you've got to get the tension right to start with. If you don't, you're going to have all sorts of trouble getting these out nice and clean, certainly with the space nailing. If it's not space nail and you're stapling all the way around, it's easier to get out clean. But with the space nailing where I've folded the leather under, there's not so much room for error there. But I've just subdivided it each time. I'm certain if I put a ruler across them, we'd find them fairly evenly spaced, 6 centimetres to the centre of the staple, 6 centimetres. That one's just a little bit under, but unless you're using a ruler, you're not going to spot that. So it comes with experience. So that's the chair upholstered per se. It now needs finishing off with the nails. So like I said previously, we're going to close nail it along the bottom. We're going to space nail it around the top edge. So I'll crack on with that and get back to you very soon, or hopefully soon, with the finished job so you can take a look at it. Right, so there we have it. It's all done now. Let's have a quick run through what we did with it. We stripped the chair, webbed the seat, canvassed it, bit of felt in there, then the 2-inch rubberized horsehair, layer of felt, then Lux Bond over it, and then the leather. The outside back just had a layer of Lux Bond on it and the leather. The inside back had some webbing, canvas, 1-inch rubberized hair, layer of Lux Bond, and then the leather on it with the space nailing detail on it. And the seat's got the close nailing detail. So there you go. I think you'll agree it looks very good. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We'll keep the content coming, and please like and subscribe. It means a lot to us, and it's nice to see your comments where you're based. So keep that up and we'll keep up putting the content. Thanks again for watching. Cheerio. Bye bye.